You're welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome. I want to appreciate you for coming to this channel again. If you've not met me before, this is Samuel Jamil, and I'll be your anchor for today at the Property Varsity. I'm popularly known as the first-class property lawyer, and today I want to be teaching you something that is very, very important when it comes to buying land in Nigeria. Now, what I'll be teaching you today is called land titles in Nigeria. Land titles in Nigeria is very important because title itself in law means ownership. Title means ownership. Title means ownership. Please don't forget. Now, so when people talk about title, what do they mean? It's not chieftaincy title. It's not Obi or Apala or Kabesi. What it simply means is ownership. So when we now bring it to land title means that what kind of ownership do you have on that particular land. So what that means is that you can have a land that is just beside another land, and that other land is safer, better than your own. Why? It's still the same land, the same community. So why is it better than your own? It is on the issue of land title, because if the person has C of O, you might have rest of mind. Of course, C of O is a very good title, so you have rest of mind, except if the government wants to use that particular area, and then the government will still compensate you because the government has given you a certificate to occupy that particular area. You're welcome once again, and I want you to watch this video till the end because I'll be sharing two important things that you need to check out for when it comes to owning a land in Nigeria. You're welcome once again. So let's jump into the topic. Now, before we look into the topic, I want to first of all talk about the Land Use Act. An act in Nigeria is a law. Now, an act, A-C-T, is a law in Nigeria, and specifically it is a federal law. So it's a law made by the federal parliament. That means the House of Senate and the House of Rep. Now, when you talk about the Land Use Act, at the point in Nigeria, the government decided that, okay, the way Omonile are monopolizing land in Nigeria is too much. So they decided that let's take this land from them and be in charge of the administration of land in Nigeria. That was during the Obasanjo era. And so, as at that time, in 1978, they promulgated this law. As at that time, it was called a decree because it's a military government. But now, it has been turned to an act because it's a civilian government now. The Land Use Act, from the word land use, is to regulate the use of land in Nigeria such that the government can have a say when it comes to land use in Nigeria. Before that time, there was no law governing how land can be used in Nigeria, who owns land, who is in charge of administration of land in Nigeria. So today, you are in the right place. Watch till the end. Now, let's go. Like I said, in one of the articles I wrote on Posh City Luxury Properties page on Facebook, by the way, if you have not followed that page, please go and follow that page. There are a lot of content on that page too. On Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, follow Posh City Luxury Properties. Now, back to the point. In that particular, back to the point, I talked about how the title on your land can raise the value of the land by 50 to 100%. So you can have a neighbor, Mr. Chukuma, just beside you, Mr. Opeyemi, and then you are selling your land for 100 million. He is only able to sell his own for 60 million. Why? The same location, the same value. Everybody will feel that you are supposed to sell it the same amount. No, title can appreciate. It can make the value of your land to go higher than every other land in that community. So you want to listen to this to the very end. Like I said, I'm going to share with you two tips that are very important. So when you are buying land, the first question you want to ask is, what is the title on that land? In fact, most times you shouldn't bother more about location than title, because title is the ownership. When we are talking about owning a land, the most important thing to you should be the title, because title talks about ownership. So if you don't have a good title, then what do you have? So you need to talk about title. You need to be very, intentional about knowing the title of the land. Then you cannot talk about location, because if the ownership is not okay, then you have problem in the nearest future. So first, in Nigeria, we have what we call the freehold title and then the leasehold title. What is freehold? From the word freehold. The government is holding it, but is free from acquisition. Should I come again? The government is holding it because all land now belongs to what? To the government. All land, by virtue of the Land Use Act that I talked about, now belongs to the government. Now, each governor of each state is now holding the land in trust for the citizens of Nigeria, for all Nigerians. Now, as a matter of fact, this particular law has now made us to come to this point where we begin to talk about global excision, committed excision, gazette, and the certificate of occupancy. That was what brought about all of this. But I'm going to explain to you. Just listen as I take you from A to Z of land title. So first, we now have freehold and leasehold. What is freehold? Like I said, the government is holding it, but it is free from acquisition. The government is not looking at doing anything with the land. There are a number of land that are under acquisition. In fact, there was a particular one that happened in my area. That particular, the expanse of land, is under government acquisition. So at the point, government came and demolished all the houses in that area. You don't want to be a victim of that, and that is why you need to understand land title. Land title is very key when it comes to buying land in Nigeria or anywhere in the world. So what I'm teaching you here can help you. If you're in Nigeria in diaspora, it can help you anywhere. If you want to buy land, you need to check, is it under government acquisition? What is government planning to do on this particular area of land? You don't just buy a land and then you build commercial or you do residential. It might be meant for a particular purpose. So please make sure you ask all these questions. And if you have not watched the video on A to Z of real estate terms, go and watch that video, because one of the things I talked about is asking questions. What are the questions you need to ask when you are buying land or house in Nigeria? So freehold, government is holding it, but it is free for you to use. Now the next one is leasehold. Leasehold has to do with government holding it, but they can still give you, they can still lease it to you. That word is very important. They can lease it to you. Leasehold there means that the government is giving you to use it for a particular period of time. So there's a specific period, especially when it comes to C of O. C of O is for 99 years. Right? 99 years. So leasehold, just like your tenancy, perhaps you're a tenant now, you've been a tenant before, you know that tenancy usually span for 1 year, usually 1 year, most times usually 1 year, except for some areas that can be, maybe 1 month, you pay every month, like that, but most times usually have 1 year. So after the end of the year, what happens? The landlord comes and says, rent, because you have to renew it. So for C of O also, C of O is for 99 years. So when the government gives you C of O, it's for 99 years. Now that's to buttress my point when I talked about leasehold. That means it's not given to you for life. It's only for a limited period for 99 years. Now, take for example, somebody got his C of O in 1999. Or say he got the C of O in 1990, and then this is 2022. You just deduct 1990 from 2022 to know the number of years he has used already from that particular leasehold. Now, if you are coming under leasehold, so before I go on, let me tell you that most of the land in Egbe, Lagos, are under freehold, and that is why you can just go buy, then proceed to the government to do your C of O, and you are okay. But for the premium areas, Lekki, Ikoyi, Ibejuleki, and some other areas, those areas, some of them are under government acquisition, and that is why a lot of people don't understand this. And I want to appreciate you for coming to this channel, because you'll be learning a lot. If you have not subscribed, make sure you do that, and also share it to other people that would like or needs this information. I also like it. If you have anything, maybe you don't understand anything I've said so far or after now, you can put it in the comment section. I'll be very glad to answer you. And if you have any topic in your mind you want me to do a video on, I'll be ready and glad to do that. Now, just like I said, a lot of people have bought land under acquisition. The implication of that is that the government can wake up 20 years later and decide that yes, we are ready to do this project, and then they'll demolish all the houses in that particular area. And so that's why you need to be very careful. There are a number of places in Ibeju-Lekki that are under government acquisition. So should you buy that kind of land? No, you shouldn't. Especially if it's a committed acquisition. I'm still coming to this. But especially if it's a committed acquisition, you shouldn't buy it until you are able to see that, okay, government is ready to release the land for you. And most times, if it's committed, they might not be willing to do that, because committed means that they have a particular project they want to use it for. So it will not be easy for them to just release the land to individuals. Now, government acquisition, very important. How do you now escape situations like this? Not to buy a land under government acquisition. What you can do is to consult a professional, whether a lawyer or a quantity or a surveyor or people, any professional in the real estate industry that knows how to do search. Not just anybody that knows how to do search, especially lawyers. Now, what they will do is to go and check, especially if there is a survey plan already. The survey plan, they get the BK number, they chart it, they check, and they see that, okay, this land is free, then you can now proceed to buy it. But if it's under government acquisition, you should be very, very careful. Especially, number one, it can be global acquisition. Number two, it can be committed acquisition. When the land is under global acquisition, what that means is that the government has acquired it. The government wants to use it for a particular purpose. However, the government has not said or specifically stated what they want to use it for. Remember, the government has a number of projects. They might want to build public hospital, build public toilets, build public university or schools or anything, barracks and the rest of them, because the government also need land, to do specific projects. It might also be that government wants to, especially in Lagos, they might want to build the BRT, terminal and the rest of them. Now, in this particular case, for global, the government has not said anything. So the land is there, but it is not free. It's not like freehold. It's committed, it's acquired, but there's no specific thing. This is still better than committed. Because when you have global acquisition, you can go to the government and get what we call ratification. Ratification. Now, when you do ratification, what that means is that the government has said, okay, we want to use this, we have actually acquired this land, but we are releasing it to you for use. Now, this is very important when you do a global acquisition, when your land is globally acquired. But when it is committed means there's a particular purpose the government wants to use it for, and most times they might not be willing to release the land to you. And that is why I said in one of the articles on Posh City Luxury Properties on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, I said you should not buy this land. Yes, don't buy. And how do you know this kind of land? Most times it's cheaper than every other land in that locality. So they will say that a very cheap price because they want to get you. But don't give it. Run! No! You must run, because if you give it to it, you are going to buy a land that is useless. Because ownership is the most important thing. It's not location. You can buy a land in Ikoyi, God forbid, and the person will still cry. So what's the essence of buying something that eventually does not belong to you because you don't have good ownership on the land? So please, you want to avoid that. Now, if you have a global acquisition, what you can do is to make an application to the government for what we call excision. Excision in medical term means to cut a part of the body away. Now, to excise land means to cut a part of the land. So government has acquired it. Let's say government acquired 150 hectares of land in Ikoyi. Government, if you go to the government and apply, if it's a global acquisition, you can apply to them and say, please, I need this project, I want to do shopping malls and all of that. Please, can you give me 1,200 square meters out of the 15 hectares of land? What the government will simply do is to excise that part to you. So the government will cut that part to you, and then that part now belongs to you. So excision is also a very good title. Now, after that is done, you can now proceed to what we call gazette. Gazette. What is a gazette? A gazette is a public publication. That's not a repetition, but that's what it is. A public publication. That means a government publication. Now, when government wants to release laws, they want to release excisions that have been granted, it is usually published in a gazette. So it is possible that you've seen a lot of land titles and then you see excision. What does this mean? By now you should know what it means. Excision means when a land has been, part of the land has been cut and given to you. So government has partitioned that part, they have cut it and they have given it to you. When they now publish it in the government publication, which is called gazette, then you now call it what? A land title that is as gazette. Gazette is also a very good title. And one of the benefits of having a gazette is that gazette does not have limitation like CFO that has 99 years. Gazette does not have such limitation. But then CFO, everybody likes CFO. Yes, I hope I can dance. Now, a lot of people like CFO. In fact, the only land titles that a lot of people know is CFO. That is why you need to be in this university. This is property varsity because you can see that a number of things I've taught you. There are some of them that you might not have heard before. You've heard it, but you don't really understand. So, not just CFO. There are other land titles. So, when you're buying land, you need to ask, what is the title of this particular land? Don't forget, watch this video till the end because I'll be sharing two important things you need to know when you're buying land in Nigeria. Now, certificate of occupancy is a certificate from the word certificate given to you to occupy that particular place. Remember, we started from leasehold. We said by virtue of Land Use Act, all land belongs to the government. The government now gives you a leasehold. Leasehold means that they are giving you to use it for a particular period of time and then it ends. Now, the certificate they will give to you to show that they have actually given you that particular part of land is called certificate of occupancy. Clap for me now. Yes, certificate of occupancy. So you are occupying the particular area. Government has said, okay, we're giving you this. Now, what's the evidence? If you go to a catering school, the evidence of finishing that school is that there is a certificate, right? Now, if you go to regular schools, universities, the evidence that you went through the course for 4 years or 5 years is that there's a certificate. So, the evidence that government has given you that particular land is the certificate of occupancy. Now, you are only occupying the place. They did not say you are now the owner. It's still the government. Can you see? Can you see the use of word? They did not say certificate of ownership. That's why you need to be in this university. It is not certificate of ownership because all land is now owned by the government. So the government is picking the word specifically. They do not say certificate of ownership, but the government says certificate of occupancy. Now, there's a difference between occupying a place and owning a particular place. Now, if you are a tenant, you are simply occupying that place. So that's what we call possession in law. You are only having a possession of that place. You are not the owner. The land is still that of the landlord. In fact, when it comes to ownership of land in Nigeria, it's like the relationship between a landlord and a tenant. That's just it. Because when you get a particular apartment, you are supposed to use it for a period of time, and then it reverts back to the landlord. The landlord is the owner. So as soon as you finish that particular tenure, the land goes back to the landlord, right? Or the house goes back to the landlord, or the apartment goes back to the landlord. That's the same thing that happens when it comes to land ownership in Nigeria that a lot of people don't know. The government does not have, from 1978, there is nothing like ownership, free ownership, or eternal ownership or perpetual ownership of land. No. What you have is only an occupation of the land. So the government gives you the right to occupy that place within a period of time, especially if it has C of O, it is for 99 years. So after 99 years, it goes back to the government. That means the government is like the landlord. The government takes back the land. So 1978 to 2022 is not up to 99 years. So none of the certificate of occupancy has reached 99 years. So we don't know what is going to happen. Perhaps government will say, okay, renew, get a renewal for what we have given to you and all of that. So it's possible that's what is going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen, so we are still waiting for what the government will do. But you need to note that what you are having is only a certificate to occupy, not a certificate to own. Does that mean that you are not the owner of the land? You are still the owner. But then the government is only trying to tell you that we have granted leasehold. You are only leasing it. You are still the owner, but then it's on lease. It's not perpetual ownership. So after 99 years, the land refers back to the government, or they tell you to pay for renewal. We don't know what's going to happen next. Now the next one, which is not common, is judgment. Is it High Court judgment, Supreme Court judgment, Court of Appeal judgment? Now, as a matter of fact, a lot of people don't know that judgment is also a land title. Sometimes you see people fighting on a particular land, and I want you to check this channel for my video on land documents. Now, the reason why we have a lot of fight on land is because there is no proper documentation. You want to buy land and then you get the receipt alone. It's not the best. You need to go for other land documents that can secure your ownership. So watch that video on land documents in Nigeria. Now, judgment is also a land title. And how is judgment a land title? In Nigeria, if somebody goes to court and is able to fight from High Court to Court of Appeal, then to Supreme Court, and then he wins, what happens is that the judgment of the court is what? Is the title. So the judgment of the court now becomes the title. You know, last week I was passing through a particular area around Eleganza, and then I started seeing things like SC / possession taking over. Now, what that means is that that person has gotten a Supreme Court judgment. Supreme Court, SC. What that means is that hey, the person is the new owner. So if you have bought it from another person, sorry, you have to buy. That's why you need to do your search, because you don't just buy land. You need to ask, is there any litigation? Litigation means lawsuit. Is there any litigation on this land? In fact, in law, you don't buy a land that has litigation on it. If there's a present lawsuit on a particular land, you don't buy it. That's what we call the doctrine of lease pendings. Yes, the doctrine of lease pendants. Lease pendants means that there is a pending litigation. So you can see I'm teaching you Latin already. Yes, this is Samuel Tamiu, the first class property lawyer. If you are not subscribed to this channel, make sure you do this, because I'm teaching you, I'm breaking all these things down to make it very easy for you to understand. And also comment, put your comment if you like it, make sure you like, and also continue watching. Remember, I'm going to share with you 2 tips that you need to take note of when you are buying land in Nigeria. Now, especially when it comes to land title. Very important. I'm going to share those 2 tips at the end of this video. Judgment. The person has gotten judgment. Now, what do you watch out for? You need to do your due diligence. If there's a litigation, don't buy. Now, another thing is that, what if the person says, no, there's no pending litigation, we've gone to high court, I won, don't still buy. Why? Because it's high court, that's not the final court in Nigeria. What if the person that lost at the high court appealed to the court of appeal, and then appealed to the Supreme Court, and then wins? What happens? So you don't buy. You can only buy when it is a Supreme Court judgment. And now, when you also get the Supreme Court judgment, what do you need to check? What do you need to check? Put it in the comment section if you know. What you need to check is for the judgment of the court. There's what we call the ruling and the judgment of the court, where you have, the justices that sat on the case, the holding of the court, the judgment. You should get it and get a lawyer to help you read it, and to be sure that that case is actually in favor of the person selling to you. All these things are very, very important. You might not understand it. That's why I'm breaking it down this way. Now, what are the things you need to watch out for? So when it comes to land titles in Nigeria, I'm going to be mentioning them. I have explained everything already, so I'm going to be mentioning them one after the other. So broadly, the broad categorization is called freehold and leasehold. That's broad categorization. But when we talk about specific land titles, then we begin to talk about freehold. Most land in Lagos are under freehold. Then also we have what we call global acquisition. That's the title. Is under ownership of the government. Then we have committed, which is also under ownership of the government. Then we have excision. Excision is where the government has released it, and gazette is where it has been published. Then we also have the certificate of occupancy, and then we have judgment. Encourage me now. So please make sure you subscribe to this channel. Don't forget, I'll be sharing the tips that you need to take note of when you are buying land, when it comes to land titles. Now, the first one is C of O. A lot of people want to jump at C of O. This land has C of O. In fact, some people, once they give them C of O, they say, wow, it's a very good one. In fact, the first class property player says C of O is a very good title. Yes, C of O is a very good title, and there are also other good titles like Excision, gazette is also a very good title. Now, when it comes to C of O, make sure you watch out. I also wrote an article that is talking about C of O scam. One of the C of O scam is where you do C of O and then you don't confirm that C of O is actually genuine. You want to buy a land and they sell it to you that, okay, C of O. Have you confirmed? I met a colleague at the land registry outside Excision, Lagos, and the person told me that there was a C of O that she brought to Alausa, and they discovered that it was a clone C of O. To a search, don't just say a C of O and then you want to just go ahead like that. No, you need to check. So C of O usually have number, page, and volume number. So those are the numbers you take to the land registry, or you give a professional to help you do your search to discover whether that particular C of O is actually registered or not, or whether it is genuine or not. Then another thing you need to look out for, if you have been able to do search and is now okay, then you need to look out for when that C of O was granted. Take for example, C of O was granted 1978. You know that if you deduct 1978 from 2022, that's a lot of years. So you don't want to buy something that after some years is already expired. So you want to check that. So you don't just say, oh, it's C of O, I'm okay. Some people don't look at 99 years. It's very important. You need to check whether the number of years. This my 9 is not looking like 9. It's looking like a G. So you need to check whether 99 years. Then another thing you need to look out for is, do your consent. Remember, I told you that it is leasehold. The government is the owner of the land. So the government is giving you to use it. What you need to do is to go to the government. When you do get your C of O, maybe you are buying from Mr. Chukuma a land at Ajah, Lagos State. And then Mr. Chukuma say, oh, I have CFO, this land is okay, and he gave it to you. You've done your search, everything is okay with the CFO. Now what do you need to do? You need to do what we call governor's consent, and that is another land title. I did mention that earlier. Governor's consent is another land title in Nigeria. Now, governor's consent simply means that the governor is the owner of the land. Remember, I told you the governor is the owner of the land in Nigeria, and is holding it. In every state, every governor is the owner of the land in every state, and is holding it in trust. He cannot build his family house on it. He cannot build personal house on it. No, he's only administering the land. He's in charge of administration of the land for the benefit of Nigerians, for the benefit of those who want to buy. Now, when it comes to CFO, make sure you do your governor's consent. Governor's consent means that somebody has sold for you CFO, then you go back to the governor to give approval. The governor now gives approval that, okay, I approve this particular transaction. Check this channel for the video on land documents. If you check the deed of assignment, one of the portions of deed of assignment, especially at the back, is what we call the governor's signature area. Now, what the governor will simply do is that I approve to this transaction contained in this deed or contained in this document. Now, then you have the signature of the governor, so honorable or executive governor of Lagos State and all of that. So that is to say that the governor has consented to the assignment, to the transfer of that land to you. If the governor does not consent, you are on your own. That means even if you have paid for it, the governor is not aware of that transfer. Do you understand? If you get a CFO, make sure you do consent. Consent is to show that the governor is now aware, because a lot of people buy CFO and they go to sleep. Why? The implication is that when you get to the land registry, it is still the name of Mr. Chukuma that sold to you. That will be there. And imagine you, Sabinus, the investor. Now, you have probably bought it from Mr. Chukuma as an investor, and you do not do consent. The implication is that if anybody wants to buy from you, if they go to the land registry, they will only see the name of Mr. Chukuma. They can't see your name there because you did not go to the land registry to register. So that's what we call governor's consent. When you now get governor's consent, it is now your name. So there will be an history of how the land flowed from you, from the first person even to the last person, which is you. So please take note. We've come to the end of this video. I've shared the two important tips that I want to share with you, and I'm glad that you were able to watch this video to the very end. I want to appreciate you. Please keep watching this channel, because I'll be sharing a lot of things that has to do with real estate investment. What do you need to do? This is just a tip of the iceberg. I'll also be sharing with you investment tips. What are the right locations to invest in? So if you want to continue watching this, please make sure you subscribe to this channel and also click the notification bell, so that anytime I release a new video, you can be notified on a new video. I want to appreciate you. Make sure you share this video. Also comment if you have any video in mind that you want me to do. Please make sure you put it in the comment section, and if you have enjoyed this video, make sure you like and also comment down below. Thank you for watching. See you.